I want you to know I've laughed a lot in the past, parts of this episode, and you took all the joy out of my life with one phrase.
Open your mouth, prepare your tongue, because you're about to get a taste.
I cannot believe we've gone 12 episodes without me being able to talk about Final Fantasy.
Well, I know the doll is bad, so I gotta think the Dusty Balloon is less bad.
I mean, if all life everywhere ends, what have I lost?
Facial hair as a theme is not something I ever would have chosen.
So yeah, that's the one that Rock is just sweaty the whole time.
Yeah. He's got that good Pony Jafar beard.
I've got 3 pages of AMA citations.
This is the Debate This podcast.
Hello, and welcome to Debate This, the show where no one is right, but someone is definitely wrong. In this podcast, we take time out of our busy adult lives to talk about comics, video games, and how 2020 is the year that I begin my campaign for Jason Mantzoukas to join the MCU in Phase 5. do it,
so
5G.
Weirdly specific.
give us Rafi as the Crimson Dynamo. Well, he's gonna give us a David Harbour-led Winter Guard, so just do it, you coward.
I would like to raise you. I don't want him as Crimson Dynamo. I just want him as Raffi. Just put Raffi in the MCU, not the actor, just the character.
I think I had said it before we started this recording that I just love the thought that he could be the Russian anti-Tony Stark, where like Tony Stark is calculated and smart and intelligent, and then we've just got loose cannon Raffi. Like, hey, I've got this suit.
Like literally just Raffi, but he gets an Iron Man suit as like a Marvel short before a movie. That's all I want.
It's like the 10-minute short you see before a Pixar movie.
Exactly.
Raffi does a Marvel.
For those of you that don't understand what we're talking about, Raffi is from The League, and if you know that, then that's all you need to know.
If you know Jason Mantzoukas from anything, it's just the most most R-rated version of Jason Mantzoukas out there.
Yeah, so. Well, he's also 1/3 of the voices in Big Mouth, so
that's true.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. He's in a lot. He shows up in a lot of places.
Yeah, but only ever as Jason Mantzoukas. He plays no characters. He is just Jason Mantzoukas.
Well, now that we've got that weird energy out of our systems, my dudes, we currently find ourselves neck deep in holiday spirit.
Yeah, it's Christmas.
Is that high-proof, cheap alcohol that you can find around Christmas time?
Oh, I wish. Well, each year all around the world, people gather to show their appreciation of one another by spending time together, and they make new memories, and they engage in corporate consumerism by buying gifts for others they didn't need or ask for.
Hooray for capitalism.
Whoa.
We did it.
Well, if you remember, last year when we wrapped up season 1 of episode 20 of Debate This, and in that episode, 3 of us gifted Andrew some wonderful gifts of timeless gaming peripherals.
Namely, they all ended up in the trash.
Well, if you remember, namely a helmet that you yell into, a life vest that vibrates, and a controller with a full QWERTY keyboard built into it.
Actually, I would like to amend my previous statement. I took the helmet that you yell into to work with me.
It's how Andrew sends emails now.
Yeah, that's it. That's how I do all of my teleconferencing.
Man, I forgot how bad that QWERTY keyboard was. I was explaining that to my wife too, and she's like, "Why? Like, who asked for that?"
It's still my favorite visual of any controller I've ever seen. Like, when someone told me, hey, there's a GameCube controller with a QWERTY keyboard in the middle, I wasn't sure what to expect. And man, that is the best Google image search ever.
It's like a bad mock-up, except it's not a mock-up and a real product that was sold and bought by people.
Someone was like, they made a example. Oh no. Guys, I thought we were going to design this.
And it was made like exclusively for Phantasy Star Online.
Yep.
Like, tell me, you find me 5 human beings in real life that have ever played that online.
That played Phantasy Star Online on a console that needed a controller with a keyboard as opposed to a PC where the game belonged.
That not only needed a controller with a keyboard, but also a special adaptation to the console to make it internet adaptable.
Yep.
Yeah. It was a lot of steps for not a lot of payback.
Well, anyway, this year, to show their deepest appreciation to me as their collective best friend, I've invited Andrew Krampus Henderson, Kyle Belschnickel Harper, and Matt Gryla and the Yule Lads Cole to cover me with their love by gifting me their best gimmick controller or third-party peripheral. Do you have questions about who I gave you today?
I'm so happy I got what is clearly the best one.
No, I just want to let you guys know that Gryla and the Yule Lads will be putting out our first ever ska Christmas album on December 25th.
I was going to say that was my favorite children's cartoon that is also a group.
If you're curious about who some of the Yule Lads are, they are 13 mischievous characters with names like Door Slammer and Sausage Swiper. So,
no.
Man, I did
literally one for every member of Real Big Fish.
Wait, why do I know about the Yule Lads? Where's that? What was that in?
I mean, it could literally be a ska band. Actually, it's actually the what was the band that did Push Push Lady Lightning?
Oh, that's Ben Camaro.
Yeah, that's actually the different name for Bang Camaro. All those men yelling in the microphone at a distance.
Wow. Todd, great deep cut. Push Push Lady Lightning, the second single off the album Bang Camaro by the band Bang Camaro. The first single of which was called Bang Camaro.
It's only because it was in Guitar Hero. That's the only reason he knows it.
Yeah, for sure. Well, anyway, unlike two of you, I wasn't raised as an only child. I always had to fight to get the, quote, best controller. You know, thankfully, my parents were divorced, so they competed for my love by buying me better gifts and outdoing one another. Yeah, thankfully.
Oh, Todd, were you the youngest?
Yeah, man. Ooh. I was the baby.
That's a rough life. Let me tell you, getting first pick of the good controllers is definitely a perk to being the oldest.
I mean, we can scrap the prepared questions and just get into my scarred family history if that's the energy we want for this Christmas.
Oh, I plan to get into my scarred family history with the questions, so let's just dive in.
Well, I'm going to segue from that then, because 2019 has been a rough year, and the only thing that will bring me joy is opening up my secular holiday gifts from underneath my seasonal coniferous tree. So tell me, what is exactly that I see as I open up my religiously ambiguous celebration packages this morning?
I'll start.
Yeah, why don't you start?
I'll start. Hey, Todd, happy non-denominational holiday to you.
Hey, thanks, man. I appreciate that. Well, you know, we don't like to make a big scene out of it.
I hope you enjoy your time off with the people with whom you've chosen to spend that said time off with.
It's the reason for a season.
Well, I think we're going to argue about a lot of things today. Maybe we will, maybe we won't, but I think we can certainly all agree that 2019 was yet another dumpster fire of a year.
In a long string of dumpster fire years.
Here's to you, 2019.
Real quick, I saw a tweet today that was like, at the end of 2018, I said, bring it on 2019. And when it comes to 2020, hey, like, let's just take it easy.
Can we just not do this one? Can we just like, can I play the pass card on 2020? So since 2019 was yet another dumpster fire every year, I thought we could do what the internet does best and hide from the big scary present, not like a present gift, but like the present time, under the safe blanket of nostalgia that is the mid 2000s.
Oh, let's do it.
Simpler times.
There is no blanket I'd rather hide under.
Absolutely. Let's take a walk. The year is 2005. The Office debuted on NBC while the world was mourning the loss of friends and celebrating the eternal love of Tom Cruise and Katie Holmes. All three of those things happened in 2005.
That aged well.
It sure did. But more importantly, 2005 was the year of Resident Evil 4, a game that so perfectly encapsulates the blind optimism of the mid-aughts. just like Facebook or the 2008 presidential election, we thought this was it. This is the thing that's going to save us all.
I thought we weren't supposed to be sad.
We're not. We're not. We're in nostalgia world. Resident Evil 4 would revolutionize the way that we play video games, and it was going to do it all as a GameCube exclusive. It was going to save GameCube. It was going to save gaming as we knew it.
How is it going to save GameCube when the QWERTY keyboard was sent to us by God above?
If even that couldn't save the GameCube.
Well, as we all know, that ultimately could not save the GameCube. And none of these things actually did happen. We weren't saved. We were taken. We were pulled further into the dredges of hell. RE4 was soon after that released on the PS2 so that they could actually make some money. And despite it being a phenomenal game, which like I love RE4, the only legacy that RE4 really left us was QuickTime events, and then and yes, the very first QuickTime, or what started QuickTime events, and a slurry of poorly repeated sequels that nearly killed the franchise until RE7. So let's forget about all that sadness. Instead,
let's funnel that away.
Focus on the best part of Resident Evil 4, which is, of course, the gratuitous violence.
Yeah,
of course.
That and the fake Spanish, but we'll stick with the gratuitous.
No, gratuitous violence is good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Specifically, do you guys remember that one enemy with the potato sack for a head who would come behind you and be like, "Where Tom? And just like, and then you just heard the rev up, and then you were dead.
Pretty much.
And then you just see Leon go. Ah!
It sounds right, and I'm inclined to say yes because you're so confident.
I didn't look at how that captured on my recording, but oh boy, I can't wait. So, and then the guy would pop up, potato sack guy would pop up behind you, and you would just be dead in one hit. Well, what if you take that experience and just like package it as a controller?
Is it yelling included?
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, yes. And it's but instead of like a potato sack guy controlling you, it's you controlling the chainsaw. But you're actually firing a gun in the actual game that's motion controlled by the chainsaw that you don't actually get in the game.
Oh, wait.
But the chainsaw makes noise. It makes noise. It makes noise
in game, or in like the controller itself makes noise.
My answer to that question is yes.
Oh, why?
How would you like, Todd? For Christmas, I've gifted you a fully immersive chainsaw controller. You're welcome.
I don't. Oh man, I don't think I said thank you, but I also blacked out for a second, so I might have said thank you.
I need to conflict with you right now and say there's nothing fully immersive about this chainsaw, and I say that because I remember in like 2006 being at GameStop and seeing this thing up on the wall and being like, holy shit, that's so cool, I really want it, and asking the guy at GameStop, so like, what does it do? Like, does the chainsaw turn on? Like, what does it do? He's like, it's just a controller. I was like, well, I mean, yeah, but like, it's a chainsaw, so like, does it spin? Does it rev? Like, what does it do? He's like, nothing. It's a controller.
No, it does stuff. It's just not functional, which we'll talk about a little bit later.
I have to ask, Andrew, so this controller that I've unwrapped it, I'm opening it, I'm holding it.
You look very happy. Thank you for your smiles.
Do I? Everyone's clapping. You can't hear it, but everyone's clapping. I have a question, clap. And that is I'm looking forward to the chainsaw related portions of this game, and how does that function with this? Because I feel like you said I don't actually get a chainsaw.
Next question, please.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's fine. Well, Kyle's also here, and he's handing me a box to unwrap right now. So I'm discarding what you've given me.
I'll hold it for a minute. That's fine.
Oh, thanks.
All right, Todd. I'm also going to give you the gift of nostalgia this year. So
I didn't put this on my list, guys, but okay.
It's what you're getting. So it's Christmas 2009. You played a lot of Guitar Hero and Rock Band in high school, but you've now been away at college for a semester, and the fad has mostly moved on. But your very enthusiastic mother, who always goes all in on Christmas, searched high and low for the perfect gift for you this year, and got you, and spent a lot of money on, the Beatles Rock Band limited edition with a guitar controller modeled after Paul McCartney's classic Hofner bass.
I remember these.
Wait, is this, in this example, did Todd's mom give him this, or are you giving him this?
Yes.
I specifically remember when like Rock Band and Guitar Hero started getting on the trend of artist-inspired like game-specific things, and I don't think I ever saw anyone with any of these things. So this is pretty rare, Kyle.
This is rare indeed. So remember how I said you were really into Rock Band and Guitar Hero in high school? So you've already got two other plastic guitar controllers taking up space in your game room. A full fake plastic drum set and a microphone that you're pretty sure doesn't even work anymore. And you've been given this very expensive limited edition controller for Christmas. But you've been away to college and homesick, so you try really hard to be appreciative of this gift from your mom, who worked really hard to make your Christmas special. But the disappointment definitely leaks across your face, like the ungrateful twerp you are, and your mom cries. You return the guitar next day for GameStop credit.
And how much did you, Todd, get in GameStop credit, Kyle?
I think like $80-some.
That's pretty good for GameStop credit.
It was. It was like a straight up return, not a
not
a like buyback.
I like how in this somehow we're living in parallel dimensions where somehow I've returned the gift to GameStop for credit, but I'm also holding it because you gave it to me as a gift just now.
Yeah, I'll admit to not fully reading the question and picking a story, going for the story first.
I thought you really just you just like me were overcome with with the sensation of what the holidays brings back and family memories. It just it all came flooding out.
This is the story I told you as I handed you this this gift, Todd. That's the story here.
It sounds like this gift
meant a lot to me, and now I hope it means just as much to you.
I feel like you said the words it meant a lot to you, but per your story, I don't know if it actually meant a lot to you. But I'm just gonna set this. I'm gonna set this aside. Matt, what did you bring me for my non-religiously themed holiday gathering that we're having in my living room?
Todd, I have a couple of good things, and I want to tell you those first. Thing one.
Oh, okay, good.
This is like a normal sized controller, so it's not going to take up a ton of extra space. It doesn't come with like a Playmobil stand like the chainsaw does.
Whoa, okay, Mr. Show Off. You're gonna come in with your normal ass controller.
And you don't have to mount it on the wall like the Paul McCartney Hofner bass. But Todd, I have a question for you. When you play video games and you get to like move around as the character, do you prefer to use the D-pad or the joysticks?
I guess probably the joystick.
Yeah, the D-pad. Right, excellent. The D-pad.
Sorry. We'll cut that. I like to use the D-pad exclusively.
Perfect. Yeah, the D-pad. So like, let me ask you then this, Todd. When you play racing games, you definitely don't like to use the controller, right? Like you would prefer to use like a steering wheel.
Oh, absolutely. There's the only way to get the real feel of a thorough racing game is a steering wheel.
Yeah, so
wait, hold on. Everybody knows the right way to play a racing game is with cardinal directions only.
Yeah,
using a D-pad exclusively. No, it's definitely a steering wheel.
Right, everybody hates steering wheels. Nobody wants a steering wheel. You definitely like to use the controller better.
Oh, wait.
Todd, what if you could use a controller that had a steering wheel attached to it, and you could play racing games with it?
I'd call you a liar. That technology doesn't exist in 2019.
Most steering wheel peripherals for games do have a little controller that you can use to navigate menus and stuff. That's clearly what you're talking about, right?
Yeah, Kyle, you're exactly right. A normal-sized controller with a little steering wheel on it. Right? That's perfect. It's exactly what everybody wants. A normal-sized controller that doesn't have any joysticks and has a 3-inch diameter steering wheel in the middle of it. That's exactly how everyone wants to play games, right?
With like a thumb socket in it.
Yeah.
Your thumb doesn't slip around.
Like if I could play every game with the iPod scroll wheel. Is that how can I do that?
Perfect. I'm so glad you're all so excited about the Namco JogCon.
The name sounds like they gave up.
No,
that's what that
Todd,
sounds
the
like.
name is named after jogging a dial, like those found on some VCRs. That's what computerhistory.org.uk tells me. Anyway, the Namco JogCon, a little blast of nostalgia, released in 1998. It was actually the first force feedback steering wheel available on PlayStation. So this was the first steering wheel peripheral that actually made it like you were
peripherable.
Peripherable.
Yeah, it's
Preferred peripheral.
Yeah, this was the first PlayStation steering wheel peripherable that would make it feel like you were driving a car. It like pushed against your thumbs on the little 3-inch steering wheel, and it shook when you would have accidents, unless of course you turned that off and used it in knee G-Con mode for all of the other games, because it could only give you force feedback for 4 games. But that's not the point. The point is that most of the time, sometimes if you're playing one of those 4 games, it gives you force feedback, and that's cool on a 3-inch diameter steering wheel in the middle of your controller with no joysticks. D-pad is the best. JogCon 2019.
I need to say that I didn't open the link you posted until you started talking.
Me neither.
And like, oh my god, it's so terrible.
It looks like fucking garbage.
This brings the same energy as the QWERTY keyboard, in that they talked about it for like 2 hours on a Friday before they shut down the office. They're like, hey, we got to get the order in like before the weekend hits. How do we get a steering wheel on the controller? One guy's like, just put a 3-inch one in there. It's right there. It's fine. And they're like, all right.
It looks like a McDonald's toy.
Yeah, like the best way that I can describe this.
That's the quality. You can see the quality in the picture, and it looks like a free toy McDonald's gives you to shut your kid up when you go to McDonald's.
Yeah, it's absolute dog
I just
shit.
imagine somebody in the PlayStation office, like, all right, R4 Ridge Racer Type 4 is going to be the biggest game of the year. How can we make it...
with that name.
How many 4s do they need to put in there?
The kicker is, this was all Namco, a company that's famously been flailing since about 1990.
So somebody was like, all right, this is the biggest thing. This is going to be the biggest thing. How can we make the best controller in gaming? And someone said, well, I really like it when you go to the arcade and you get to use like a steering wheel. I'm also a big fan of the N64. Can we put a steering wheel on the N64 controller? Yes, but the only way we do it is we get rid of the joystick. Great. Print it. And that is the Namco JogCon.
You know what's funny, Kyle? This is actually like a little bit of a side tangent. This is like Namco in their prime. Because if you remember, like Namco made Tekken. Tekken was fucking killing it.
Oh, that's
in
right.
arcades. Tekken was everywhere.
That's right.
In like the PS1 era, and Ridge Racer was a huge for series for a while.
Yeah.
It wasn't even. Yeah, it wasn't when I take it back. Well.
Yeah. But despite all of that,
they made this
still looks
awful
like absolute
controller.
Trash. Yeah.
So for a little context here, Matt, because I was wondering when the DualShock controller came out. This might have came out before PlayStation controllers had joysticks, because the DualShock wasn't released in America until 1998.
That's interesting.
Well, imagine putting together this piece of trash and then the DualShock, one of like the most revolutionary controllers to ever drop, comes out like 2 months later.
Oh, so here is something interesting. I am reading that the JogCon was released in America in '98 as well. So I think that this probably came out right around the same time as the DualShock.
They were definitely in development at the same time. Which, again, imagine you spent all this R&D to make a new controller for your hit racing game, just to have Sony release the better version of it at
the like
the same
flagship
time.
model controller.
Yeah.
I can't look at JogCon, like the word JogCon, without thinking that it's just like, it's definitely a play off Joy-Con, but like it's less joyful. Like it makes, it's no good.
Yeah, and like I said, according to computinghistory.org.uk, its name was derived from the action of jogging a dial, like those found on some VCRs. And I do not know what that means, but I remember having an old VCR with that same kind of like wheel on the front of it.
Yeah, if I remember right, I think it was for tracking.
It's probably like a specific thing where like where it's a digital knob or something,
linear,
as opposed to an
analog video editors had them.
Yeah.
You remember it? Did you ever do like WOCC, Matt?
Yeah.
This is really narrow casting. Yeah, we that analog video editor that that they had at the station had that. and that's how you would go through like frame by frame in the old tape.
Yeah, well, there you go. That's what the JogCon is named after, and it is an absolute crime against God. But Merry Christmas, Todd, or excuse me, Happy Holidays that are non-denominational. You've got one now.
Just the thought that like they saw it on a VCR, like, no, we need that. Like
That is
great.
our solution to driving games with a D-pad. Is that?
Well, and the kicker for me is that it's so small on that controller that I know it's probably designed for you to like have both thumbs on it or a thumb on it. But I
Right.
can't imagine you're not like pinching it. Like you're picking up like a bagel bite and you're just like moving it like
Yeah, that's what like I have this image of you having to like put the controller down on the floor on a flat surface and like a claw grip, but like
yeah.
like kind of like pinching, like twisting, like you're undoing a screw or something.
Because there's no way this works as intended, where you use one
of course
thumb to
not.
steer and one thumb to like hit the other buttons.
It's like you're trying to do like a combination on a combination lock. Like that's what you're doing to
Yeah.
this thing while you're trying to drive,
Like
and it's
3 to
bad.
the right, 2 to the left, 1 to the right.
Well, I don't remember asking for any of this. But if you
You're
all
welcome.
if you all say these are really really good controllers, I'll believe you. So hey, just tell me real quick, what made you pick this? Like, why? What out of your holiday 2019 gift buying guide? What made this stick out?
Hey Todd, before we get in there, let me would you like one of my famous December 24th cookies?
Ooh, December 24th cookies.
Yeah, help yourself to a non-denominational winter cookie, my friend.
Oh man, is it Krampus or is it Popo Gijo? Is that a Santa
it
Claus
tastes
reference?
like-
That's a Santa
it
Claus
ta-
reference.
That is a Santa Claus reference. It tastes like the season. So while you're distracted by cookies, non-denominational cookies, let's just kind of glaze over the fact that speaking of a chainsaw is of course just a simple tool that you yourself can just buy and have in the real world. Like you can just have it. You
Yeah.
just go to a hardware store and buy a chainsaw.
Well, yeah,
But
just
this
have it.
this one is fully immersive.
that phrase has gotten so much traction here.
Now, instead of just like, so for example, this is a chainsaw. It's a chainsaw.
Yeah.
It's shaped like a chainsaw. It works like a chainsaw. You can't cut with it, obviously. You can't,
What do you
but-
think of this
but-
crazy
yeah,
town?
But like all the other things that you could do with a chainsaw that aren't any of the functional mechanics behind a chainsaw, you could certainly do.
Hey, list me 4 or 5 other things you can do that are functional mechanics of a chainsaw.
Yep. So I got one. So you know how like every controller has a start button?
Yeah, just like
You
every
know how, like,
chainsaw does.
Yeah. So instead of
How
of a start button,
how do you start a chainsaw, Todd?
Here we go. Yeah, I'll
instead
let
of
Andrew
a start
do
button, there's you rev it up. You
There's
rev it
like a
You
ripcord.
pull a ripcord, and it actually goes. And that's every time that's what you do when you press. So like you can, it's really cool because you can like you press you pull the ripcord, you rev it up to start your game, or you rev it up to pause, or you rev it up to check your inventory. Pretty much every time. And don't worry because you're always gonna hear every time you pull that old ripcord.
I was worried, so I'm glad that you told me not to worry.
Yeah. Definitely won't interfere with your game at all because again you're playing a horror game and you're waiting for sound cues, and if you hear a chainsaw that means that you're gonna get dead. But don't worry, this will not interfere with your game. Function 2. Hey guys, remember motion controls?
How they were in their prime in whatever year this was.
Remember how 2005 we were really good at motion controls, like really good?
We were so horny for motion controls in 2005.
The world just couldn't get enough goddamn motion control. Well, Todd, you're gonna get to relive. You yourself, my friend, are gonna get to relive those glory days with the RE4 chainsaw. So like, okay, you remember how to play You played Resident Evil 4, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. What's
So
up.
did you guys play it, Kyle, Matt?
I never did. No.
If you all you need to know is a Resident Evil game, but like you were
Yep.
outside and maybe in Spain, Mexico, South
Yeah,
America.
it was Spain adjacent.
Yeah, like I don't know if they gave it actual
Yeah.
location, but yeah,
It was like non-fictional city in not Spain, but it's clearly
Exactly.
Spain.
It was Springfield, España. is what it was. So it's over the shoulder third person shooter. This kind of like made that genre. So like Gears of War was kind of based on those kind of games, right? So you're walking forward. Now this is like before the control that controller mechanic was really perfected.
No, perfection.
Perfection. It was made of perfection. You had to like stop and aim because like again it's a Resident Evil game, so it's trying to make you kind of like futz with the controls. So you press a button to aim, and then you could only shoot while you're aiming. So instead of like pressing the button to aim, you just move the chainsaw. You just lift it, like you're lifting a chainsaw. You go, "Rrrr."
And then
Good.
you have to aim
You lift it
with
up.
motion controls or with
No, you just
No.
like lift the chainsaw, and then that puts you into aiming mode, and then you can just fire with the chainsaw with the triggers on the chainsaw.
Oh no.
So you're just like you just lift the chainsaw, but like granted, when you lift the chainsaw, you're twisting the controller, so you're just kind of facing the controller down so that you can play.
The mental image is way better if you think like because I was on the same page as Kyle when you said lift the chainsaw. I was thinking you had to
Yeah.
like lift it up, like,
No.
like you're holding a gun.
That would
but
be-
it's,
that would
and
be
now
rad.
it's a chainsaw.
No, that would make sense. So like, okay, so let me draw you.
Would it?
You guys, I don't know. The people like everyone is listening. You don't have the mental picture. So imagine like a PlayStation controller, but just like a chainsaw kind of sticking out to the left, like a big old chainsaw blade.
Yeah, it's gonna be the image. Don't worry.
Yeah, you lift the chainsaw blade, which is just turning the controller like 90 degrees to the right, and then you're aiming. And
Then you can shoot your gun.
Wait, okay.
Yeah, you shoot your gun, not shoot your chainsaw. Shoot your gun.
because you can't get a chainsaw in the game.
Because I cannot state this clearly enough. You do not have a chainsaw in Resident Evil 4, but you only fire guns. So you lift your chainsaw to fire your gun or to aim your gun, and then click the trigger to fire your gun. Like a trigger and a gun.
So serious
Yes,
logistic
Matt,
question. When you were playing Resident Evil 4 with the chainsaw controller, what direction is the chainsaw pointing? Like, do you point?
So it's like
Up.
it's like hand, and then like
Yep.
chainsaw.
So okay, so if you're holding the controller,
Yes.
normal, right? The way that the controller is oriented is it is designed to look like a chainsaw if you were holding a chainsaw with the blade going to the left.
Okay.
Like to the left, like the left diagonal, like a little bit.
The left diagonal a little bit, like on.
Your left, yeah.
Yep. So like my left up and left, or just straight out and left?
Up and your left, up and left.
Your left
like
up
catty
and left.
corner.
Okay, so that
Yep.
like when
And then
So
when you
you-
flip it up,
You hold it
when you flip it
ergonomically
up-
like a chainsaw,
okay,
Yeah.
but there's buttons there buttons and a joystick you use,
yeah.
and then you like would lift it up like somewhat like someone about to cut with the chainsaw would.
Sure.
yeah, like
To
like
aim.
you're about to trim a hedge that's about your height.
Right.
You're gonna lift it up, like you're gonna come down like a vertical slice, but you're not gonna complete that vertical slice because you're not actually cutting anything because you're firing a fucking gun.
Wow. Well then.
Because again, this is a controller for a game where you do not actually wield a chainsaw.
Correct.
Yeah, I'm looking through photos. Because I don't believe you. I don't believe like we're 20 minutes into this episode and I do not believe you. And currently I am just frantically Google searching for Resident Evil 4 chainsaw, and all that there's a chainsaw guy. There's a bad guy with a chainsaw he's a very bad thing.
I put a picture. We'll put a picture in the show notes. I put a picture in our Google Doc. Did you see that?
That's, I'm not because I'm just too deep in this. Well, I mean, I see the controller. Oh, I understand the controller.
You just don't know how it works.
I'm in with the controller. I have not believed you for the past 20 minutes that it's not in the game, and I've spent
There's
the
not
last
in the
5 just searching, and there's no picture of the
There's no
character
chainsaw
wielding it.
weapon.
Yeah.
They were gonna have one, but they never implemented it.
So the thought exercise I've been working on with this controller is imagine you've got 4 people and you all want to play Super Smash Bros.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
you are the unfortunate soul that gets the chainsaw because that's the 4th controller in the house.
Oof.
Or my other thought exercise is imagine you're the guy and like you bought a GameCube and the limited edition version of this Resident Evil 4 that came with the chainsaw and nothing else. So this chainsaw is your only GameCube controller.
Oh, God.
And you have
help
to
you.
play every game on the GameCube with this chainsaw controller that revs every time you need to pause.
Yeah.
Like,
I feel like
check
that's like a
inventory.
version. That's like a version of purgatory, right? Because
Yeah.
it's not like bad. That's not a punishment. It's just a very medium way to like live the rest of eternity.
Yes.
It's like cool. Like I'm gonna just play Resident Evil 4 for the rest of my afterlife. Okay, that's cool. Resident Evil 4 is pretty rad, but I have to play it with this chainsaw controller, and I have to use the motion controls. Like it's a very medium experience. I don't know. So let's talk about the coolest and most immersive part of this fully immersive chainsaw.
Oh, we haven't talked about that.
I
thing you
thought we
said
were
yet.
done.
It's the you guys all see the picture in the Google Doc. It's the custom blood spatter that decorates the chainsaw. Because you know, like everybody that has a chainsaw, it's decorated in dried blood spatter. Right?
I really want
Go ahead, Kyle.
can we confirm that it was because it was 2005, so game companies were doing bullshit like this where like it was a selling point that every limited edition controller probably had unique blood splatter on it, so no
Yeah.
two controllers were the same.
Yep.
Was that what you were getting at? It is a
I was gonna say that the blood spatter that covers the fake metallic portion is completely unique, which means no two chainsaw controllers are exactly alike.
Oh, I hate it.
Which, to know that, you would have to see two of these in the wild together. And
Yep.
not a single person who's ever owned one has seen a second.
You had to compare
Yeah.
chainsaws with your buddy. Like, your mom
Yeah.
walks in the basement to find you and your friend standing side by side, comparing chainsaws.
Well, you wouldn't be bending that way if you weren't trying to aim your gun.
Could you imagine YouTube gaming reviews when this came out? Because YouTube wasn't a thing yet in 2005.
Yeah.
Right.
Could you imagine the gaming channel that had to review had to positively review this because
Because they were they were on the RE4
because they got it
payroll.
sent for free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, you know what's funny is I watched like 4 reviews, and despite all of these like weird functional quirks, none of the reviews were bad. But the thing is, like YouTube. Well, here's why, because YouTube reviewers are collectors.
That's
Yeah.
true.
This is like
Oh, yeah.
this is like an awesome. Does this look cool? Sure. It's an awesome collector's edition piece. It's like $150. Like the people that are going to shell $150 for a collector's edition
Are gonna
chainsaw
love it.
Use
Yeah.
it to play. Yeah, exactly.
Well, this has been cool that you've yelled all of this at me while I'm holding your chainsaw.
I'll take it back now.
You're sweating, and the sweat is falling on me while you're
Hold
yelling.
on. Let me unpause my game real quick.
I'm just gonna hand it back. I guess Kyle, I kind of have the same question. What made you select this abomination that I didn't need this third
Todd, you're gonna make
guitar.
Kyle cry again.
Well, Todd, you like the Beatles, right? Who doesn't?
I mean,
besides Matt, who doesn't like the Beatles?
That's true.
Matt's the only human being I think that doesn't like the Beatles.
And you like Rock Band. Remember all that Rock Band we played in 2009 at
Yeah, remember Rock Band?
Yeah, I went so far to buy the cymbal attachments that went on Rock Band.
Oh.
Oh, Todd.
Yeah, well,
Well, that's perfect then, because here's this very expensive limited edition Beatles guitar for you to play Rock Band with. Isn't it perfect?
oh, Kyle, it's very nice.
Aren't you so happy that I got this for you?
Kyle,
Now you can play
Does
Rock
it-
Band all the time with your limited edition Paul McCartney bass Rock Band guitar.
Kyle, now question, right? So like it's a good bit and everything, but like the more realistically speaking, like you're putting more money into it, right? Like guitar is an instrument, right? The more that you invest in a guitar,
the better it plays.
the better it plays. Yeah.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I think there's something to be said about that.
Yeah,
So how better does this play?
Give me a scale from 1 to 10 on betterness.
Andrew, I'm glad you asked. It plays exactly the same as every other
Oh,
Guitar
man.
Hero guitar you've ever
Oh,
used in your
boy.
life.
Oh no. Oh no.
You're gonna be frustrated with the calibration and lag until you set it up yourself, and even then you're gonna wonder if you did it right. It's like, it cost an extra $80 than a normal Guitar Hero guitar did. So like you're not gonna want to rock out with it because it's a little more expensive even, and it looks, in their defense, it does look exactly like Paul McCartney's bass if Paul McCartney's bass was a plastic Rock Band controller. So and again,
Oh boy.
you love the Beatles, so like it's perfect.
Kyle, I want you to know I've laughed a lot in the past, parts of this episode, and you took all the joy out of my life with one phrase, and that was getting the guitar synced back up, because that brought back so many terrible memories of resyncing Guitar Hero controllers.
Yep.
My God,
Especially because everyone believed that their home.
Yes. I'm triggered on this holiday season.
You got him.
Oh man!
Everyone believed their console was the one that was set up right, and everyone else's was wrong. So trying to get it to the settings you prefer was a nightmare.
Man, this is a special kind of terrible that I forgot. Like, I've blocked this out of my mind, and now I'm remembering this very specific complaint I had about a very specific game a decade ago.
Yeah. Man, do you guys remember when that was the worst thing that was happening in the world?
Ouch.
2009 was a different time.
It was.
Where every party began with about 20 minutes of finding enough guitars, arguing who was going to be stuck playing drums, and syncing and calibrating all the instruments.
Because someone's girlfriend was destined to play the bass line.
There it is.
So do you guys think, I think you could sum up 2010 in one image, and it is that of a landfill with a million Rock Band drums just piled in.
There is definitely a layer of Rock Band instruments in garbage heaps across America, and historians are gonna wonder what the hell we went through from 2007 to 2010.
Right, because that plastic's not going anywhere.
Nope.
It's part of us.
I mean,
now.
I would like to fill you in on my part of 2009, which was the reality that I was in a rock band, and we would travel from tournament to tournament playing as a rock band at the local malls around Western Pennsylvania.
Oh man!
So you did what amounts to competitive karaoke.
I went on tour with my rock band around Western Pennsylvania.
Man, what was your rock band's name?
H&D.
Greta and the 13, whatever they were.
Oh yeah, Gryla and the Yule
Gryla
Lads.
and the Yule Lads.
No, it was H&D, which stood for Hump'em and Dump'em. We were definitely all virgins in ninth grade.
Yeah, you were. That's some 14-year-old bullshit.
We were
right there.
fat, sweaty virgins in ninth grade.
That's the most 2009 thing I've heard in my life.
Kyle, I'm now just angry at the gift you've given me. My rage is palpable.
Matt, what did you play?
No.
Bass.
You weren't even... Holy shit! You weren't even the main line in your Guitar Hero Rock Band?
No, because this one kid named D was better than me. His name was just the letter D, and he was the best Guitar Hero player in my high school because he had
that
the least
side
friends.
of the Mississippi.
I know you're all gonna relate to this too. So the guy who played guitar was the best at Guitar Hero.
Right.
And then there was bass, which was anyone.
It was the filler spot.
The filler spot. The guy who played the person on drums had the most legitimate talent because drums actually require
stuff's going on.
We're definitely the hardest for sure.
And then the singer was the person with the most ego who thought they could sing.
Well, okay, can I counter that point? I think there are two types of singers. There's the one who legitimately sings it, who's just the drunkest person at the party. and the person who figured out how to sing and just goes,
Yes.
Yes.
because that's the only way you could do it.
You were either singing for your team to get
Or
the points, or
or
you
for
were singing
yourself.
for your soul. Like you
Yeah.
needed that. All right, Matt, I need to know why you got me this controller because I can't talk about what we're talking about anymore.
Man, Todd, let me tell you, here in 2019, although we are all adults and although we are all members of this gaming podcast, we can't be too loud about the fact that we ourselves are gamers. We have to make sure that we keep our gamerisms contained, especially at our homes, because, you know, we all have social
Gamers are
lives.
such a persecuted class.
Ignoring
that.
and moving on. We all have social lives, and people come into our homes. We are all in long-term relationships. Todd, you're married. You can't have your gamers spilling all over your wife's nicely organized and decorated house. So
She'll leave.
let me
It's
tell
true.
you, Todd, I want you to be able to play racing games at a high level, but I don't want you to ever have to tell anybody that you use a steering wheel attachment. I want you to be able to hide the fact that you're so into racing games, which I know you are, by putting a 3-inch diameter steering wheel on your controller so you don't have to show your friends. It's perfect. It's the best controller that you're super embarrassed about having. But you don't have to show anybody because from behind it looks kind of like a PlayStation controller, and yeah, it'll blend in, and that's really what I have to offer you today. I have the best racing controller you can fit in exactly 3 inches, and also the ability to not tell any of your friends that you have it.
In this world where the DualShock controller never came out 2
Yeah.
months later.
What's remarkable about this, Matt, is you're right. I am such a huge racing fan, racing game fan. Well, racing in general. I mean, everyone.
Yeah, big
Just-
NASCAR
yeah,
head.
love
Yeah,
going
everyone
left.
knows that about Tom.
Fucking
But
love
the
going
thing
left.
is, turn left. But the thing about it is, I'm a huge fan, but I have been trying to hide it to the fact that like Andrew and Kyle probably didn't even know I'm such a huge fan, but you picked up on it.
Right.
And you're gonna help me mask it from the rest of the world, and I appreciate that.
By announcing it to our
the
dedicated
thousands
fan
of listeners
base.
out there.
The thousands of listeners.
On this non-denominational holiday, I want to non-denominationally celebrate your love of racing games with exactly 3 inches of plastic jogging wheel, because that truly
no
is
more.
the reason for the season.
Oh,
Every time you say 3 inches, Matt, I am waiting for the dick joke that follows it, and it hasn't happened yet.
That's lowbrow. We're above that.
Yeah.
Kyle,
Are we?
Kyle, it's enter in holiday season here. Okay.
This is the same Kyle that a minute ago said, I'm so horny for motion controls.
No, we all were, Todd.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean,
The gaming
yeah.
community.
we, all of us together.
Yes.
You know what, guys? I'm sold. I'm all in on the vibration dimension with these, and I'm really into the wonderful gifts you've given me. There's got to be a game on the market that really shows off the power of these marvels of modern technology, right? So if you could, tell me just what popular game is just begging to be enhanced by your peripheral that you've brought today.
Well, I feel like I got an easy answer here. You don't get if I haven't made it clear enough, there's no chainsaws in Resident Evil 4. You don't get a chainsaw. You never get a chainsaw. You don't unlock a chainsaw. It's not a code. You don't get one for beating the game.
There's no DLC.
You don't get any melee. You don't get a melee weapon at all. So why don't we take the Resident Evil 4 chainsaw controller and use it for a game where you get a chainsaw? Pretty novel idea.
That seems insane.
This sounds like a trap.
So I think this could actually be kind of cool for Gears of War. So
Oh, yeah.
somebody mentioned it earlier, and I think I mentioned this earlier. All the reviews that I saw were not bad. They were just like, okay, this thing's a little clunky, but like you can get used to it. And I think like specifically the image that I shared here was the GameCube one, which was made first. When they re-released it for the PS2, the PS2 one actually makes a little more sense because the GameCube controller like is just weird to begin with. So like the weird thing about the GameCube one is there are 2 handles on the chainsaw controller, and you have like the L and R triggers make sense, but the Z, that little whatever the Z trigger was that didn't work on the GameCube, it just kind of sits there at the bottom, like because it didn't know where to put it. But in the PS2 one, you got your L2 and R2, and it makes sense, like by the handle. Like, okay, fair enough. So I think two things. Putting this with Gears of War kind of makes sense. So get rid of the motion controls, at least for the whole aiming thing. That's dumb. But you actually get a chainsaw, and that's like your melee attack. So in Gears of War, you have like the main gun that you get is like an assault rifle with a chainsaw bayonet, because it was 2008 and everyone had a chainsaw bayonet. And you're like, when you would melee a bad guy, or you could do like a finishing move and like bring down the chainsaw. And it's this really slow graphic, like you see him just go like, "Arr!" and "Arr!" just it's 2008, whatever. It's a different time. So I think like you could use that motion control and like you could raise it above your head and really feel like you're chainsawing a alien or whatever. And you do that 4 times, you feel cool, and then you devolve to just like kind of flailing about like every motion control.
And then
game
you turn off the motion controls and use the finishing move like normal.
Is this like Skyward Sword where
exactly like Skyward Sword?
It started out really like everyone was like yeah, and then they're like nah.
But hour 50 of
day
motion
one, I'm standing up in my living room going like, I'm Link. And then day 2, I'm just like sitting on the couch.
You're
like,
laying horizontal, just like flipping your wrist.
Bomb bowling, that whole thing. So yeah, Gears of War, I think that would be fun. The other thing is like pair it with the Xbox 360 controller, which just as a controller makes more sense. It's a little more conventional. You actually have the two thumbsticks where they need to be. Yeah, I think it could work. It could be a fun, novel concept that won't get in the way of playing a game that is also 11 years old.
Question for you, Andrew. Do you think that Nintendo will have the spine to Nintendo Labo a chainsaw?
I think Nintendo Labo gives you the tools to make your own chainsaw. So the question is, do you, Todd, have the spine?
We're at most 6 months from a chainsaw mod to Nintendo Labo.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, are there any Resident Evil games on the Switch?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. They put all the PS4 remakes on
the pieces of the
there.
puzzle are there, boys. let's make this happen.
Is it RE3 that's coming like in a couple of months? I think is being released.
That's just PS4 though. The new ones, they're putting the old. Sorry, when I said the PS4, I meant the PS3 like HD remasters. So RE1 remaster. And then I think they did the old PlayStation ports there on the Switch.
Sure.
So you can play the original 2 and 3. And then you can play like Resident Evil 0, but like who wants to play that? And I think RE4 is on there too.
I'd much rather play the one whose marketing revolved around a chainsaw controller but didn't perform.
I love that if the chainsaw controller were to come out in 2019, it would absolutely come with a download code for a chainsaw DLC that was only cosmetic.
Yeah.
So that you would have a chainsaw on your back that you could not use. And that would raise the price of this controller by at least $15.
Yeah. So, I mean, Kyle, like what this guitar that doesn't trigger me from damage to my psyche a decade ago. Tell me what game is just begging to be enhanced by this Cadillac of plastic clicky guitars.
I mean, if you're gonna play Beatles Rock Band, there isn't a worse choice.
And I'm not, Kyle, but yeah.
Yeah, it's great for any rhythm music game you choose to play in 2019, Todd. If you're gonna play a music rhythm game, this is your controller for it. And it does look nice if you've got a Paul McCartney cosplay planned. There are worse accessories to pick up for it. Other than that, I guess you could plug it in and see what other games you can play with a Guitar Hero controller and stream yourself doing that for more views or the lulls or whatever you want to do.
You certainly wouldn't be the first.
Yeah,
That's what I got. You love Rock Band though, so it doesn't matter. You're just gonna play all the Rock Band with your fancy new Rock Band guitar.
I think I'm gonna play Rock Band with this, but replace the 3 instruments just with this guitar. So even if you're playing the drums, you're also just playing this guitar.
There you go. That's a good
I mean,
plan.
it's a decade later. We have
We have the technology.
Yeah, Matt. So you've given us this controller that has a small racing wheel attached to it, but it's not really a wheel. It's like a dial. What game is just begging to be enhanced by that?
Oh boy, Todd, let me tell you, these other guys, they can only adapt their controllers to old games, but I, Todd, can adapt this controller to the, not game of the year because it didn't win, but one of the best games of 2019 that none of us have any interest in playing. The new driving and delivery simulator from Hideo Kojima, Death Stranding.
What could? Oh my god! The only thing that I think could make that gameplay look and feel more clunky is a poorly censored racing wheel the size of your palm.
Yeah, 3-inch diameter steering wheel, definitely.
Isn't inventory management a good part of that game too? So you can click through your inventory like their playlists on a very old iPod.
So, I mean, follow me. We all know that Death Stranding is exactly 2 things. And those 2 things, from everything I can come to understand, is watching cutscenes and driving places. I do not know anything else about the game. I read the Wikipedia
You don't drive,
page.
you walk.
No, they're vehicles. You drive.
You drive? I thought
There's
you
a little bit of
everywhere.
driving.
They're vehicles.
I think you build. I
watched
think
a
you
playthrough.
work up to driving. I think you
Yeah.
have to build the roads and the cars.
Yeah.
Well, and how much more fun would it be to walk places if you had to hold forward on the D-pad and then controlled yourself with a spin wheel? It'd be so much better, obviously. If you could drive everywhere with a 3-inch diameter steering wheel that you use with your thumbs. It's like thumb wrestling yourself. It's so much fun. So, listen, this controller has a D-pad, it has a steering wheel, and then it has your 4 buttons. And so I figure, knowing that Death Stranding is 23 hours of cutscenes and 3 hours of deliveries, then you can click X with this controller, and you can use the little spin dial for your deliveries. This controller is perfect for Death Stranding, a game which I have never and will never play, I'm certain.
I love that your answer was you answered Todd's question, but also mostly tried to piss off any Death Stranding fans listening to this podcast.
Kyle, I didn't try to piss off anybody. I just stated facts.
Yeah. All 5 of them can just chill. Do you know? Okay, this is a weird thing. How many people in real life do you know have played this game?
Every games journalist who I listen to podcasts are screaming about
Real,
it because
real human person you've met. I can say 2.
Wow, that's 2 more than I can.
Yeah. I think of one, maybe. I don't remember if he got it or not, but yeah.
Todd, I know more people who know what a jogging wheel is than I know who have played Death Stranding.
Yeah, that's saying something.
It feels like it's people that had to play it for a reason, for their job.
Yes, like the journalist that you just referenced.
I think you're right. It's a game for it's the overly heady art house movie of games. It's the game for people who like to think about games but not actually is fun to play in any
The game
way.
for people that don't like to have fun while they play games.
It's the game for people who call movies films. That's what it is. That is Death Stranding. It is the game
That's
for
not the
people
first
who
time I've
call
heard that.
movies films. That's not even the first episode I've said that in, but it's still true.
Yeah. I heard something I don't remember where it was, but it was it's the Barton Fink of games. It's very good.
Don't mind me while I Google Barton Fink real quick.
Okay, that's my answer. That's all
There
I've
you
got.
go.
Death Stranding is the answer. Favorite.
It's Death Stranding. Death Stranding isn't the answer. That's not a sentence that anyone has ever said. It's like if you've ever just made up a word as a child to be like, I've said something no one else has said. The sentence Death Stranding is the answer is the sentence that no one else has ever said. Well, all right. I've got another question for you boys. And so before we take a break for a special message, I'm going to go ahead and ask you today's super secret bonus question. So, lately I've gotten really into speedrunning. And for those who don't know, speedrunners, they find every advantage to push the limits of games they play in an attempt, to try and optimize their strategies. So guys, this is breaking news. You probably haven't heard it yet. The speedrunning community has decided that your controller is now the preferred medium for Super Mario 64 on any percent speedruns. And so first off, I need to know, why did they choose your controller? Why is it the preferred speedrunning controller? And how does that work? And so with that, we will be right back.
Hi, it's me, Kyle. No left trigger, right trigger ad this week. I just wanted to take this time to thank everyone for listening to us for another year, and wishing you a happy holiday season. And we're excited for what we've got in store for season 3, and we hope you give us another year. Thank you.
And we are back. So, guys, again, the speedrunning community, they have decided that your controller is now the preferred medium for the Super Mario 64 any percent speedruns. And so,
Naturally.
yeah, of course. It didn't come as a surprise. It just kind of came out of nowhere. We're like, oh, of course, duh. And so, my questions for you are, why did they choose your controller and how does this work? So, we'll go ahead and kick it off to Andrew.
Well, I'll tell you guys this. If there's one thing that we learned from Super Mario Galaxy 2, and then later Super Mario Odyssey, it's that motion controls definitely work with a Mario game.
Did we learn that?
We did. So while like motion controls were kind of like off to the side and like didn't really get in the way, we're gonna really double down on those motion controls and make
sure they get in the way.
Mandatory. Yeah, make sure that they really just stick in there. So you're gonna flip the and I realized somebody said it earlier, but I realized that Kyle and I, both our controllers, are basically flipping it to activate star power. Except for when you flip mine, it just makes a noise. So you're gonna take the GameCube, the now GameCube controller, and while it's like totally could function as a controller, and you could definitely play Mario 64 on that controller as is, we're gonna kind of tweak it, and every time you go flip the star power, that's when Mario jumps.
Oh no! And you do so much jumping in that game.
You have to flick it. You just have to flick your chainsaw every time you want to make Mario jump. And the reason we've done this, and I'll explain why this is so big in the speedrunning community, is because it's all about saving the frames, right? So you want to save the frames and inputting all of those things. Like, it takes a lot of time to press 2 buttons, but if you can press a button while you're flipping, that's basically half the time, right? So that's like if every button press is a half a second, then how many times do you press jump in a Mario game? That's like 1,000,000 seconds that you're shaving off.
You're not ever not pressing the jump button in a Mario game.
Exactly. So every time you're pressing the jump button, you could be running and flipping and moving all at the same time. Hence, speed run.
Does it make that noise every time you jump?
Most times.
No, that's the start button, Todd. Get it right.
That's right. Well, that's
so
probably
if you're doing a
too.
proper speed run, you won't be pausing much, so you won't be hearing the.
Well, unless you have to like pause, like do that pause trick where you like try to glitch out the game by pausing,
and you
then
certainly
have to
do.
Just bump the controller back and forth.
Man, that's such a bad controller. All right, Kyle, why did the speedrunning community choose your Paul McCartney limited edition Beatles rock band guitar?
Mostly for the wow factor, Todd, but also because how you jump with the guitar is way better than how you jump with the chainsaw controller. So
it's not better. It's just a different way of doing it.
So the guitar controller controls are going to have mapped to it your directional buttons up on the neck.
Oh no. Oh no.
So the first 4 buttons are going to be your up, down, left, right.
and they're beside each other.
with your B with your B button as that fifth one you have to reach with your pinky. So any fireballs or items you're gonna use, you're gonna have to reach with your pinky while you're using your directional buttons.
This sounds miserable.
And you're gonna jump. Your jump is gonna be assigned to the like strumming key. So like that's how you'll jump, because you're jumping a lot in Mario. So like it'll be like you're really playing a guitar, but controlling Mario.
Well, and it's very intuitive because you're flicking up.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Which like
while you
Mario goes
jump.
up, so like it totally makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. And then the star power motion activation is going to be your ground pound, your butt thwomp move. That's going to be your star power, and then like you hit start on the guitar like a normal controller, because it's a normal controller with a start button that doesn't make a stupid chainsaw noise every time you need to pause the game. So that'll stay the same. But mostly your directional buttons being the first four colored buttons on the guitar neck is the main takeaway here.
I'm so angry.
Oh, and you'll still have to spend 15 minutes getting the light calibrated before you start to make sure the timing is right with your guitar.
This is a dream of like a speedrunning community charity benefit stream where they're like, all right, we have the world's best Super Mario 64 game player, and we're gonna make him play today using the fans voted and someone donated $1,000, the Paul McCartney controller.
It's definitely like the theme, a themed event for like charity or something. It's like the rock.
You guys realize this is a thing, right?
Yeah,
like,
this would be.
You're just describing awesome games done quick. They do this every year.
Yeah. But like this is a very specific thing.
No, I mean there's somebody who will either like beat Dark Souls with a dance pad, or beat like I don't know, like Tekken with a guitar. Like it's a thing.
Yeah, but the directional buttons are side by side, and that's special and bad.
That's very bad.
All right, Matt. Why? So we've got two strong contenders. Why did the speedrunning community decide that your abomination is the thing that they need?
Well, Todd, everybody knows that speedrunning is all about moving all the time. You're always moving. Nobody ever stops when they're speedrunning. So we're gonna take this controller and we're gonna like trick the controller mapping into thinking Mario's always moving forward. Always. Mario's always running 100% of the time. Then you just control what direction he goes with the 3-inch diameter steering wheel. Yeah, so like think of it this way. Mario is always moving. Always. 100% of the time. And you've got full control of where he's going with the left hand. And then the right hand, you can jump, you can use all the other buttons. I mean, you can do whatever you need to do with your right hand. But you've got such perfect control over Mario that like all of those ice slide levels in the penguin level, like think of how much easier that would be if you had a steering wheel that you could pinch with two fingers, as opposed to using the shitty N64 joystick that breaks really easily. When you play Mario 64, you don't want to hold forward on that flimsy joystick for the 15 hours it takes you to beat that game. I have no idea what the speedrun of 64 takes, but you don't want to hold that joystick forward the whole time. Just, he's always running. And then you just control what direction he goes. And, like I said earlier, you can turn off the force feedback. So you just like set exactly which angle you want Mario to run at, and then you just let go of the dial and he goes that way. It's perfect.
I'm just imagining you've broken the controller so much that he's just frantically sprinting. Like there's never, and knowing that there are certainly parts where you have to like tiptoe on a ledge or jump at the like frame perfect moment. No. Screaming forward Mario.
Well, and those tiptoeing on a ledge parts were always super difficult because you had to use the flimsy N64 joystick and
the
like
far inferior joystick.
Exactly, and try and move forward with the joystick, but also like stay close enough to the edge that you don't accidentally knock yourself off. So imagine if you were just running forward and you could just crank that steering wheel into the wall, and he'll just like bang himself into the wall the whole way down the ledge. It's perfect.
Like the NASCAR games that I love to play so much.
Yeah. All games are racing games if you have a steering wheel.
Are they?
Yes.
Are they not?
Aren't not?
Okay. You've been in my living room for like an hour yelling at me about your presents, and I really just need you to put bows on these.
Todd, we
Please
need to resync the guitars again. Mine's acting funny.
God. Can just give me a quick like summarization of your gift you brought me and why it's better than the other two.
All right. What if instead of firing a gun with the chainsaw fired a gun that shoots chainsaws? Is that better?
It's not worse.
Not
It
better,
doesn't
just
answer
different.
Todd's question either, though.
Yeah. Are you trying to workshop the next version of this controller?
I rest my case.
It's a crossbow, but with chainsaws.
In the game that you're describing me, is it a controller that is going to shoot these things, but it's not really going to be in the game anyway? Is that what you're going to do again?
The defense rests.
Is it my turn?
Oh yeah,
It
it's
is.
Okay, so the reason this plastic guitar modeled after Paul McCartney's bass is the best controller you got today, Todd, is one, your love of the Beatles and the game franchise Rock Band. So I know you're excited to receive this guitar. Two, I know you can't actually play guitar, so this is like a good second option of just like
Basically, guitar. It's
can-
basically
yeah,
the same.
It's basically a guitar. You still get to like look cool and carry around a guitar, but you can plug it in and like play along to actual Beatles songs, and everyone will think you're cool, like Matt's touring Guitar Hero band from 2009.
We were very cool.
H&D.
H&D.
Hump 'em and dump 'em, baby.
And thirdly, it's a big plastic guitar that costs a lot of money, so you're never gonna want to quite get rid of it. So you won't be contributing to the ever growing landfill problem that is consuming the world. Actually,
Based upon guilt, I'll just keep it forever.
well, yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And forever is literally there because it's plastic and will never decompose.
Yep.
Well, Todd, let me wrap this up for you by saying that in the year of our non-denominational Lord 2019, tiny things are really in right now. You got tiny houses. Instagram is full of those tiny cooking videos. So I posture you this, Todd. Why not a tiny steering wheel? 3 inches in diameter. It's all you need. Tiny steering wheel. Best steering
Tiny
wheel.
wheel.
Tiny wheel. Tiny wheel.
We're not doing that.
The name of this episode is 3 inches is all you need.
Oh God. All right. I've got to decide which two of these I'm actually going to return to the store and make my mother cry. While I think about everything that has happened here, go ahead and say nice things about each other's shitty gifts.
Oh boy. Kyle, your gift made all of us feel so many feelings. Now, I will say none of them were good feelings, but they were certainly feelings. And I can't think of just like the Beatles rock band experience in general was a huge letdown to begin with.
Very middling. Like,
So like if you just like went all in, was like, I want the full Beatles rock band experience, you are not gonna come out of that happy.
mm-mm.
Oh man.
I even looked, and I was only pulling upon my own experience, so I only did the guitar. Apparently, there was
Sure.
a more expensive limited edition bundle you could get that had like a
Oh.
Beatles branded drum set that looked like a more real drum set too. That
Yikes.
is also terrible.
Yeah, who is that for? Who is it for?
And again, this was at the end of the rock band fad, not the beginning. So like,
Yeah.
if you were buying the full Beatles bundle, you really missed the boat.
You sure did. What kind of like I can't wrap my brain around is the money that you would spend on that like limited edition guitar controller is like, that's the cost of a normal guitar.
Yeah. Yeah. Like you could buy your kid a Fender Squiire and a month's worth of guitar lessons for that point,
Right.
that price point, and like
Right.
you'd still end up with a guitar in the back of a closet somewhere.
Which is what I imagine 19-year-old Kyle is like, okay. But it is insert holiday here, so we're gonna stay positive. And speaking of positivity, Matt,
Hey,
you came in swinging with a controller that is basically the way that I adjust the volume on my on my speakers. Holy hell, did you come in swinging? That controller looks like absolute dog shit. And when you were setting up for that long play there, I was like, where's he going with this? Wow, well done. You found a very bad controller for a very good set of games, and I never want to see that again in my entire life.
So Andrew, what I appreciate about the chainsaw controller is it's from that time when like the pre-buy bundles were very much a thing. You know, if you bought Halo 3 early, you got the Master Chief fully
helmet.
articulated.
It was
the helmet.
the height of eBay.
The height of
Halo,
eBay.
the Halo 3 Master Chief helmet that's still sitting in my guest bedroom.
The height of
Oh shit!
of
I forgot you had that.
game room man cave garbage.
Yep.
And this combines
trash.
that with a controller that makes an audible noise every time you try and do a basic function of any game.
Yeah.
Which is it's a very specific, special kind of terrible. And I didn't think of all the ramifications of how awful that controller was until you put it up for scrutiny in this episode. And it's really bad. Because again, you had to pay, what was it, $150
Yep.
before anyone could play and review the game to make sure it was actually a good game.
It wasn't a collector's edition thing. Like, you didn't get the game with it.
Oh.
You just got the controller.
You just got
my God.
controller too.
Yeah.
Oh no.
It was like the box was branded RE4 and it was like the thing was branded RE4, but it wasn't a collector's edition. You just got the fucking controller. Again, for like a game that doesn't have a chainsaw in it.
Oh, it's so bad in all the best ways. And then Matt, your controller, it looks like a McDonald's toy. Like you can tell in the pictures it's very cheaply made. It's trying to solve a problem no one at the time had, which was like either you were fine playing racing games with a controller or you had the giant plastic wheel setup. Like enough people had the plastic wheel that you could easily try that out before you commit to buying it. So it's like the bad wheel with the cheaply made controller all coming out at the same time. Sony just released the perfect game controller ever anyway. Like the DualShock hasn't been updated since 1998 except very minor changes.
Yeah.
And this controller came out at the same time and is just bad. And it's, again, just another very special kind of bad that we all had to deal with in 1998. And the worst part is I can see yours being given as a gift much more realistically than Andrew's. A lot of kids got a PlayStation and this garbage controller Christmas morning in 1998.
Rich kids got hours, poor kids got Matt's.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and also to add in, aside from the racing controllers that are over the top, with a gas pedal and a giant steering wheel, there hasn't been many bones thrown to racing games at this point in time.
No.
So it was oh no, this will help. It didn't.
But playing with an analog stick is perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
need to
There's
change
like Kyle said, this was to solve a problem no one had.
Yeah. Yeah, Andrew, I have to say that you brought the only controller to this episode and to the last episode combined that I actually wanted when I was 12. I very distinctly remember being in GameStop in my local mall thinking that controller is so cool and edgy, even though I was way too scared to play Resident Evil 4 at the time.
Mm-hmm.
It looks rad as hell. Like I'll give it that. Like it looks really
It
cool.
has its own unique blood spatter on it. Like
every blood spatter.
Yeah, which, like, man, now that I've worked in haunted houses for so long, I know that there was somebody on a production line with, like, a red paintbrush and a wall of chainsaw controllers just splattering red paint at the wall.
Yeah. That's exactly
yeah,
what
but
it is.
I mean, that's, God, what a terrible idea. There's just nothing about that controller that makes it worth $150 other than how it looks cool. And that hurts me in my heart and my wallet.
the clinch pin is always for a game that you couldn't wield a chainsaw
Yeah. Oh, it's awful. Yeah, and then Kyle, holy smokes, man, was I really into Guitar Hero? I was definitely not.
You were?
Yeah, I definitely, like, I wasn't even really that into Rock Band. I was on the Guitar Hero side of things, but I just, rhythm gaming was such a big deal in my life, and
Yeah.
I forgot that these super expensive controllers existed because they weren't made any better. Like, they were all the same cheap plastic as the ones that came with the game. They just look different, and they cost 4 times as much.
If it was like a wood body with the like controls inlaid, I might have kept it because that would have been cool. But like, it was the same plastic as every other Guitar Hero guitar.
Do you guys think that Matt's band, like, they practiced with the normal controllers, but they would have toured with the Beatles ones?
I absolutely refuse to answer that. I loved rhythm gaming so much in 2007 through 2010. And then as I looked back on it in like 2012, when, you know, at the fraternity house one day, somebody unearthed the Guitar Hero guitar from one of the closets. I was like, guys, let's play Guitar Hero tonight. And I immediately was like, oh no, this shit sucks.
Yeah.
It's karaoke that more people can do at once. Like, I get that party aspect of it, but man, that was such a very specific time.
And then just, I mean, the absolute horror and anxiety, and also, like, I can't even put into words the feeling of, like, the start of the party when they're like, all right, we have to sync the guitars, and there's this huge argument about who the best person is, and then you get picked, and you stand in the middle of the room in a circle of your friends just going, dink, dink, dink,
Yep.
dink, dink, and knowing that, like, if you mess up, everyone's gonna see it. But it's so oh god, I hate it. I hate it, and I don't ever want to talk about it again. So, not thank you for doing that to us today.
Guys, you've brought me 3 pieces of trash. I can't tell you.
You are going to
This
leave
is-
my house, and these are going
Oh my
immediately
God.
in the garbage.
Yeah, I've thrown all of them away already, actually. They're so bad for such special reasons. Like, it's 3 different competitions of bad. And so I'm gonna say the chainsaw controller wins because it's and I wanna explain this because it's so specifically bad. Like, it's specifically bad in design. It's specifically bad for all the reasons they put so much effort into making it good. And then it's specifically bad because it didn't stick the landing. And I think that's what makes that the worst option. Now, I love the fact that Kyle's was just an expensive skin on something that already existed and no one needed, and it definitely, like, preyed on parents. Like, that was
Yep.
Kyle's peripheral was, like, predatory on parents for sure. Also, I am so angry thinking about syncing guitars, but we've already lived that too many times. So I'm gonna move past
the
it.
genuine reaction when I brought up the specific act of doing it was made like that was my victory. I won today because
hurts
you
me
got
deep.
so upset.
And Matt, yours looks so bad. It's so bad. I too, like the other guys, didn't look at it until you started talking, and then I looked it up, and I know that I made a physical reaction to like, this can't be real. This controller with a bottle cap in the middle that you have to spin as a steering wheel. No one asked for that to exist, and the fact that they made it is just like, it's unfathomable. It's so ridiculous.
Again, it's the design by committee. Like no one involved in the making of this controller played a racing game in their life.
Definitely not.
No.
Or at least not before like the 15-minute demo they played to like play a racing game. It's so bad, and I love it. The D-pad doesn't even look like it like is sized right for the part of the controller it's on. Like it's too small for that space, so it looks like
You nailed it with it looks like a McDonald's toy.
Yeah.
What was I was trying to think, there's an older controller that had a dial wheel, and it was the fucking
The Philips CDI.
The Philips CDI. Yup.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a remote control with a dial on it. That was your controller.
Like select 1 through 9 by spinning through the options.
Oh,
Yeah.
Garbage machine that was.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, so that's going to be a wrap for today's episode. Now that we're all just going down this dark hole of terrible controllers. So we wanted to say thanks, Jesus. All right. So we want to say thanks for listening.
Jesus.
Thanks, Jesus.
Jesus.
Damn it.
Non-denominational
No.
Jesus.
Didn't stick the landing. Thanks for listening in to Debate This. Follow along with our argument on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at DebateThisCast, and check out our website at debatethiscast.com. If you like what you hear, please leave us a review so more people can hear our nerdy, dumb show. Until next time, I'm Todd Thomas.
I'm Andrew. Say it ain't so. Henderson.
I'm Kyle. Guys, we need to seriously need to resync these guitars. It's the lag. It's not me, I swear. Harper.
And I'm Matt. We'll see you all in Debate This. Season 3 inches is all you need. Cole.
Saying thanks for debating with us. And if you think we're wrong, then you can come fight us behind the swing sets, nerds. 3 inches is all you need.